Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's me to go first. I have Chiz. I could play Chirk, keeping back the Z, but the Z's not a bingo-y tile, it's a scoring tile, and SKR does have some synergy. That's not good. The Q is probably the least bingo-y tile in the set, and I don't have a U or I to go with it. But I do have the K and Y as scoring tiles, so I will probably try and score rather than change. Well, the I that was available for my Q has been taken. Now, I only have an S for going underneath Tsar. I'd like to play off a lot of tiles to increase my chances of drawing a U or an I, so I'm looking to play off the K and the Y. How can I do that? Well, I could play Yok down here. I think this is good. But I may be mistaking it for a similar word. It would certainly be annoying to play a bingo when my rack is so poor. I could play Jokey instead. This is 21. Let me see what Jokey scores. $20. Well, I'm sure that's good, but I am providing a very easy scoring spot for my opponent here next to the K, so I'm going to go with Yok. I still don't draw anything to go with my Q, and I do not have any scoring tiles now. Maybe my opponent will oblige with a U or an I. Apart from the Q, the rest of my rack is quite bingo-y, so I may change next go. If my opponent provides an A, then I've got Cat and Trank. I don't have to change. I could play in column 5. I've got an N for going next to the Y. But then I'd be breaking up quite a bingo-y rack. Nice move by my opponent, doesn't help me at all. So do I change the Q? I think I do. This is a really unfriendly board for a Q. So the Q's going. What else? Well, nothing. I think the rest is fine. Right, what do I have? I have Eastrone, which takes an O in front. That plays at K1, making PE as well. It doesn't play anywhere else. Eastrone does not have any anagrams. Great, that spot remains available. And my opponent has provided another place for Eastrone, which is above Yerth, beginning above the T. That places an E in this square underneath the double letter square, which isn't good. But in row K, it's doing the same. Now, are there any floaters I should be considering? No, there isn't. So I'm going to play here because it scores more. And this is really going to open the board up after quite a tight start. Eastrone 71. I pick the Q straight out of the bag, having thrown it away just now. I have drawn the first blank, which is good, and I've got an I and an N for helping to get rid of the Q. But I can't see any high-scoring places available for it. Although Eastrone has opened the board up, Zax and Pax and Taj have really closed down the bottom right-hand quarter rather. Now, if I use my blank as a U, do I have a bingo through anything? I don't. I'm close. The choir is good. And if I play off Chi and Chin, my rack leaves pretty poor. But I think I do have to jettison the Q as soon as possible. It may be worth changing again. If I change the Q, the R and the V, then my rack leave of INR blank would be pretty bingo-y. I have a 50-point lead at the moment. Nice play by my opponent, 36 points. He has played a U, but not in a position that I can use. But he has also played an N. So I could play Chin in row C for 24 points. Here. And the alternative to that is playing Chin in row D, Chin and Net. 16 points, 8 fewer points. Well, that's not worth doing. The N helps the V. So the real choice is between playing Chin here, or I could play just Chi here for 11, 13 fewer points. The I really helps this rack leave, but I don't think it helps it by 13 points. Wow, this is tough. She also plays under pi, but I'm really torn between playing Chin and changing QVR. I'm going to change. Q, R, and V. Oh, well, that's nicer, isn't it? So I have Terrapin and Pre-Train in column 12. I have Pertain and Net in row D. So I should be bingoing. Do I have anything in row A ending on the M of munged? This is a really good rack. Okay, I don't have anything ending I-U-M. What else might end M? Ism? No. Okay, well, I do have a bingo because column 12 is available. There are no double lanes. Row K is available. Row K is going to score more if I've got a play ending ES. So, panniers and well, I'm sure there is an anagram of panniers. Rapines. Ah, well, rapines, that works. Great. I think this is the highest scoring spot on the board unless I have a bingo ending with an N. So Rapine's 73. And that's pretty good. The U and the W are not great tiles, but it's quite a balanced rack. Do I have a bingo here? I've got the under prefix in column 12. I've got the un prefix, so I have un, T-A-W-E-D. Haven't seen anything yet. Good score for my opponent. Well, I feel that there is or are 8-letter bingos with this letter set, but I haven't seen any yet, or any that play. Possibly unweighted, but I don't need to concern myself with that because there is no available I. I've got down in column 13, D-O-W-N, and out. No, can't see anything there. Okay, I can't see a bingo with this rack, but I may be missing one. I don't think I can spend any longer looking. So, can I play off the U and the W? Well, I've got an A, so war is good. Well, let me focus on the W, trying to find somewhere to play that. 40 tiles left, I've got just under 12 minutes. Now, column 1 is pretty hot. My opponent has provided two spots. Now, what I can do is Jew. UNT is not a terrible rack leave because the U and the N go together, and I'm going to struggle to play off the U and the W. And this is going to score quite a lot, 39 points, and it's taking out a hot spot. If my opponent plays in column 1, he'll be opening up column 2. And not only do I have the un prefix in my rack leave, I've also got the out prefix in column 13. I've now got a 70-point lead, so I'm a bingo ahead, but there's still a blank and 3 S's unplayed. So I haven't got a comfortable margin. And I don't have a bingo with this rack. The B and the F are not particularly bingo-y, and nor is the U. But FUB is good, so if I could play that somewhere, it would sort the rack out in one. Beaufet is good, but I don't have the tiles for that quite. Great, under 30 points for my opponent. Now, he's provided a spot where my F can be tripled. So my F can go here. I'm not going to be able to play off my U. But I'd like to play off one of the B and the U, in addition to the F. So, what to do? Birth is good, so I could play that in column 13, but it doesn't get doubled, which is a shame. I would have Buffett through an F. Now, 30 tiles left. I've got less than, or fewer than 10 minutes. I don't really want to hang around too much on this rack. Well, I could play Fab across here. Across here, rather. 25 points. It's not great. It's opening up a really good scoring spot across here. So, I'm not keen on that. Do I have something down here? F something something. ETA is good. Nope, I don't think I do. Gosh, tricky rack. Is there really nowhere for fub? It's a frustrating rack, this one, because it's consuming a lot of time and the end product isn't going to be ideal. Well, I am going to play here. If my opponent plays underneath it, he's keeping the East drone hooks available for me. That's one of the problems of keeping a U, is that if you draw the second one, it's really hard to get rid of both of them and score well. I have no scoring tiles at all now. Well, there are some of them. 38 points for my opponent. I'm just looking to see if I can play through that V. I don't quite have the tiles for unitive. So I need to sort this rack out quickly. U2 does that. Is there anywhere for U2? Gosh, how extraordinary. Quite a simple word, and just nowhere for it. No, I can't see anywhere for U2. And under 7 minutes left. Well, actually I have unvirtue through a V, but the V's are in the wrong place. I'm going to just change the two U's because the rest of the rack is really good. And I pick up two I's. My lead at the moment is now less than 30 points. No scoring tiles. I can play off two O's quite easily, though. I can play that at A14, making OM and OU. And also in row L, making PO and IO, so I will be able to play quite quickly. I don't think I have a bingo with this rack. Not too many floaters to consider. Just the V of Vivary and the N of Eastrone. And there is still a blank and three S's unseen, and the remaining tiles are pretty bingo-y, apart from the Q. Although there are 2 U's and a blank to go with it. Playing double O is only going to score about 12 points, so my opponent could well be in the lead after my next play. There's also the P of rapines as a floater, but I don't have anything through that. If one of my O's had been an A, I would have atropine. My opponent has spent a while on this move. He may have the blank and be about to play a bingo. But even without the blank, if I play off 2 O's, my rack leave of inter is quite good. It's a synergetic set of 5 bingo-y tiles. And there's only 1 N and 2 R's out there. So it's quite a robust rack leave as well. I'm looking around to see if there's anywhere better for OO. I could play Ono in row E, making Orn and Boo. That might be worth doing. 22 points, and I'm keeping EIRT. Well, that spot's been taken. My opponent scores 30 points, so he is scoring steadily. This is what I was thinking of doing, and I think that's fine. I have retinol. I don't have anywhere to play it, but terpinol is good. I have that in column 4, an anagram of top liner which doesn't play. My opponent has taken that spot with respires. There goes the blank and 2 of the S's. 10 tiles left. My opponent now takes a 60-point lead. Can I respond with a bingo? Well, possibly not. Retinol doesn't play. Retinols doesn't have a bingo, otherwise it might play in row O. Can't see anything through the E of respires. Ah, ritornell. Fantastic, I have something through the R. I wasn't expecting that. It's not going to score very much, but it's going to score a lot more than any non-bingo. Ritornell. I'm not sure if this takes an L at the end. There is an L unplayed. It does take an S. 59. Great, I draw the Q with the U. So, and I've got the L, so I could play Quail and Ritornell if Ritornell takes an S. I'm not sure about that, so I'll probably try and find something which doesn't use that hook. I'm 2 points behind, but my opponent is on turn. I've got Siliqua in row O. I was hesitating because I wasn't totally sure about Squale. Yeah, well, Squaling is good, and Squaler. Not totally sure on Squale. Anyway, I shall see what's available after my opponent has moved. I've got just under 5 minutes left, which isn't very much. I'm looking round for other good spots for my Q. And I don't want to overlook a bingo with this rack. I'm just not sure about the Ritornell hook. If it's not good, I'm confusing it with something which is. Ah, great, I don't have to worry about that. I've got Siliqua in row O. There are no tiles left. I can see what my opponent's got. He's got a 23-point lead, and I don't think he has a bingo on his rack. He's got mousage, which isn't good. Can't see anything through a C or an N. Now, is silly qua best? I know I'm not drawing any more tiles. .48 points, which is a good score. So that's going to take me to 384, which is a 25-point lead. I've then got the N to play, and with just a single tile, I'm going to struggle to score very much with that. 384, 25 points. I think it's going to be close, and I think this is the best I can do. I suppose if I did Squale, I'd be keeping IN, which might give me a bigger score. But I'm going to play this because I have a small doubt about Squale. So, I'm methodically working my way down the board to see where I can place my N. I can play An in row B for 2 points. An and No in row D, 4 points. En in row F, 4 points. I'm in row H now. Now I'm in row L. Gosh, so only 4 points. That's all I've got. So I am going to be on 388. That's my, well, 388 plus count back, which is going to be really close. Have I overlooked anywhere for the N? I don't think I can have done. Let me just get the door. Okay, I'm back. My opponent has not played. Now, my opponent could play in column 11 through the L and making silly quas or silly qui. So, supposing he plays mules in that spot, 31 points, 390, I win. Oh wow, this is going to be close, 28. No, it's not going to be close. He's only 3 points ahead of me, and I know I can get 4 points with my N. Superb. So, has my opponent provided any hotter spots for my N? He hasn't. So I can play it. Whoops. Play it. Come on, move. That's better. So I can play it here for 4 points. That's going to give me 388 and the win. So, just wait for my opponent to formally end the game, which he does. And the final score, 387 to my opponent, 390 to me. A winning margin of just 3 points. So, a very exciting, very close game. Let's see what I missed. Always good to win. Right. So, it was me to go first. And this was the choice between Chirk and Chiz. Very difficult to choose between them. I think either is fine, although analysis might show one to be better than the other. This was my opponent's rack. He played Taj, and I played Yok, which I was slightly doubtful about, but as you can see, it is good. 21 points. I could have got 3 more and burnt the R, which I probably should have done because I was trying to increase my chances of drawing a Q or an I, so I think Rocky would have been a better play. This was my opponent's rack. He was a long way from a bingo. Now, this is where I changed. Yeah, and all of the plays shown there keep the Q, but they don't score enough to justify keeping it, so changing is certainly better than the options there. This was my opponent's rack. And I did now have a bingo. Estrone playable in 2 spots, and row E was the higher scoring. My opponent's rack is slightly improving. Nice play by him. Now this is where I changed. Yeah, and you can see there all of the scores are fairly low apart from Kirsch, but that's burning the blank, and 36 points isn't enough if you're burning the blank. And if you're not burning the blank, the most available was 24, and then the rack leave is pretty awful. So I'm still happy that changing was a good play. My opponent played Woolen, and I had a great pickup after changing. In fact, I had a great pickup after both changes. I had Estrone and Rapines. Now, C2, planar. That's a row I didn't consider. Running along the top of Woolen. That would have been 82 points. Pre-train column 12, 76, placing the P on the double letter square up here. I did Rapines for 73. Well, planar's certainly best, and Rapines is amongst the second best moves. Now, did I have a bingo here? No, I didn't, and Jew looks best. This looks quite good for my opponent. And this was the move when I had 10 or just under 11 minutes left, where I spent about 3 minutes, I think, trying to find a good play and was not happy with what I found. And Bifana, H3. Right, that is using the EFF hook here. Well, I didn't spot that. Fubar, that would have been good. A12. Yeah, I think that would have been a nice play, because that is playing off the F, the U, and the B. And after that, nothing too inspiring. But I don't like my play of Fab very much. Now, this was my opponent's rack, and he played a great move, Vivere, getting rid of 2 Vs in one go and the Y. It's really helping to sort his rack out. Now, I did not have a good rack, and wow, did I change 3 times in this game? I think I did. Let's see what's being suggested here. Uni at E3, yeah, keeping ERTU probably better than changing. Yeah. So it doesn't, I mean, looking down here, every rack lever's got a U in it, apart from unpure at I4 down here. So it was pretty hard to get rid of both U's. And I did change, but I think Uni certainly better. But the moves keeping 2 U's I don't like. So Uni here or Uni here, I think are best. Now my opponent played Reb for 30, which Uni would have blocked. And this time my change did not play off. I did not have a bingo. And I played 00 quite quickly because I liked the inter rack leave. There were more points available. L1 across here, I could have played Ditone for 28, keeping IOR. Well, that has some merit, but I think inter is a really strong rack leave. And I think that's demonstrated by what happened, because my opponent bingos here. He has a number of bingos to choose from. And because I had kept a strong rack leave in Inter, I was able to come back with a bingo. I think I have decided in my mind now that Ritournelle does take an L, but we'll find out in a moment. This was my opponent's rack. He played Cage. Now, I've just noticed that onto an E I would have Aquiline, but there wasn't an E. So, Squale was good. Siliqua was my move. I-12. Yeah, it's Quail down here and Ritournelle. So, I could have played that for 36 points, but Siliqua. Siliqua looks best, except after Siliqua, I can only get 4 points for my N. If I can get more than 7 points for IN, then it would have been better to play Squill. And, well, I'm just looking around, but I can't immediately see where I can play IN for 7 or 8 points. But in any event, Siliqua looks like it was enough. But I only won by 3 points, so maybe it wasn't. This is my opponent's rack. He played Omegas. What could he have done? Okay, he played Omegas for 28. He could have played Amoles for 33. But here he's keeping 2 more points. Yeah. He couldn't win. He lost by 3. If he played Amoles, he'd have lost by 2. But anyway, Omegas was a nice spot. And 4 was indeed the maximum I could get for my N. So, a terrific game. Quite unusual to have 3 changes. I think 2 of those changes were good, and the third change was not good. I think Uni making Orn and Boy was better than changing 2 U's. But the other 2 changes were, I think, the best plays, and in both instances I was rewarded with a bingo. But I wasn't changing many tiles. I was changing 1 tile and 2 tiles, so I was keeping a very strong set of 5 and 6 tiles, and that shows, I think, that when you're keeping a very strong set of tiles, then you really ought to consider changing, because quite often the option is to score about 15 or 20 points and you destroy your bingo potential of your rack. Anyway, an interesting game from the perspective of the number of changes, and always good to play a game which has a narrow victory in the end, which this was. And I think the end game was quite interesting with the Siliqua play and the Squale and the Ritournelle hook, so there were quite a lot of factors to take into account. I hope you enjoyed watching that video and got something out of it. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.